Welcome back to Breathe and Believe, the podcast where we discover that every exhale is a chance to release what no longer serves us, and every inhale is an opportunity to breathe in God's abundant grace. I'm your host, and honey, do I have something special for you today. So before we dive in, I want you to take a moment right now, wherever you are, driving, walking, doing dishes, or just sitting. Take one deep breath with me. Are you guys ready? All right, here we go. So you are going to inhale, hold it, and go ahead and exhale. There. You created your first moment of breathing room today. You did it. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said something that stopped me in my tracks. She said, I feel like I'm suffocating in my own life. Y'all, that hit different because here was this beautiful, accomplished woman, successful career, loving family, active in her community, and she felt like she couldn't breathe. Can you relate to that? Is your calendar packed tighter than a suitcase you're trying to close after vacation shopping? Is your mind running faster than Hussein Bolt? You've made space for everyone's need, everyone's emergencies, everyone's just this one quick thing. But when was the last time you created breathing room for you? Yep, I'll wait. Still waiting. Yeah, I thought so. Well, today we're talking about breathing room. And I want to take you to one of my favorite people in the Bible, Mary Bethany. Now, Mary had a sister named Martha, and Lord have mercy, Martha was the poster child for quote unquote doing too much. Picture this: Jesus is coming to dinner, and Martha's in the kitchen, probably stressed cooking enough food to feed 5,000 again, wiping sweat from her brow, checking her mental to do list, and getting increasingly frustrated because her sister Mary is just sitting. Yep, she's just sitting at Jesus's feet listening. And Martha, bless her heart, y'all, she marches right up to Jesus and says, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Can you hear her exasperation? Can you feel her overwhelm? Martha was operating from a place of scarcity. Not enough time, not enough help, not enough hours in the day. But Jesus, in his gentle wisdom, said, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. This reminds me of what Jesus says in Matthew 11:28 through 30. He tells us, Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Now, you guys know we visited this scripture in past episodes because this is like one of those grounding scriptures for my breathe and believe journey, right? And when I hear that scripture, I recognize that Jesus, he wasn't criticizing Martha about her heart to serve, right? He was inviting her to discover what Mary had found: the power of presence, the necessary pause, the sacred act of creating breathing room. She had really identified what the power of the pause was, y'all, right there in front of our eyes. So let me tell you about the day that my body staged a revolt. I was running on fumes, caffeine, and the dangerous belief that my productivity equaled my worth. I had absolutely convinced myself that being busy meant being vulnerable, that saying yes to everything meant I was needed, and that stopping meant I was weak. So I was in the middle of a transaction, killing it, right? And then suddenly I couldn't catch my breath. And this was not metaphorically, like it was literal. My chest felt tight, my heart was racing, and I was losing control. Ultimately, that led to me having a massive heart attack, right? And having to learn how to breathe again. And in that circumstance, that's when I realized something so profound. I had been holding my breath for months, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. I had filled every possible space in my life with activity, commitments, obligations, and leaving no room for my soul to expand. Yo, I used to believe that productivity was my worth until my body demanded peace. And here's what I learned: you don't need a crisis to rest, you need a choice. And on that journey, I learned that like breath is one of the most powerful teachers that I could ever have. Think about it, right? When you're stressed, what happens to your breathing? It gets shallow, rapid, and tight, right? When you're peaceful, your breath is the opposite of that. Your breath deepens, it slows, and it expands. There's always a beautiful lesson on this journey of breathe and believe, right? And one of those beautiful lessons is that your breath isn't just responding to your state, it can actually change your state. When you intentionally slow your breathing, you're telling your nervous system, hey, 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 we're safe here. We can relax. This isn't just spiritual mumbo jumbo. This is science. When you take deep, intentional breaths, you activate, I'm going to use a big word, your parasympathetic nervous system. I practiced, you guys. I was like, I was, Lord, I'm not going to get tongue tied. And I made it through that word. Don't ask me to say it again, but I will tell you what it means, right? And that basically, that's your rest and digest response. You literally shift from survival mode to thriving mode. And you know what? This perfectly aligns with what the psalmist wrote in Psalms 46:10. It was real simple. Be still and know that I am God. The word still in Hebrew is Rapha. It literally means to let go, to release, to cease striving. It's God's invitation to create breathing room in our souls. So, every episode, you guys know, I love to give you practical examples, right? Because we're here to grow and learn and expand and become the best version of ourselves. So let me give you some real life scenarios where you can create breathing room. One, the morning rush, I like to call it. Instead of jumping out of bed and immediately checking your phone, and you know we've all been there. So no one's judging, we're just talking about it. Clear, right? So I want you to try this instead of that previous statement. Before your feet hit the floor, take 5 deep breaths. Set an intention for your day. I'll share my personal intention that I use from time to time. I like to say, God, help me move through this day with grace and purpose, not haste and pressure. Yeah. And then for me, like I live by to do lists. So sometimes I get that overwhelming to-do list when I look at it and I'm like, what's happening? You're multiplying like rabbits here. But what I've learned to do and what I'm still learning to do is I take 3 deep breaths and I ask myself, what are the 3 most important things on this list? That I give myself permission to let the rest wait. Yep, I give myself that permission. And if someone comes to me and asks why something didn't get done, I practice saying this. And keyword, I practice. I continually practice saying, I prioritize the most important task today. No apologies, no guilt, just truth and love, right? I practice saying that. So if you've heard that from me, I prioritize the most important tasks today, then like I'm just managing my life, right? I'm managing that overwhelming to do list. And I'm doing that with no apologies, with no guilt, just absolute truth and love. I think people eventually end up respecting that because you could show up as your best self, right? And then sometimes we have this scenario where we have to encounter difficult conversations, right? So before you respond to that text that made your blood pressure spike, or before you walk into that meeting that you've absolutely been dreading, take what I call a power pause. This is 3 deep breaths, and I mean deep breaths, while you remind yourself of this truth. I have everything I need within me to handle this with grace, right? And the final scenario, and I'm sure there's hundreds more, but I'm just giving you like these top few here. What is it? I think about 4 examples, right? And this is the bedtime mind race. When your mind is replaying absolutely every mistake that you made throughout the day, it's rehearsing tomorrow's problems and throwing a party you didn't invite it to. I want you to do this, right? With each exhale, release one thing that happened today. You just, as you breathe out, you are letting go the heaviness of that. And with every inhale, you breathe in the peace for tomorrow. Do this until your body feels relaxed. I'm telling you, like for me personally, it works. So give it a try. You have nothing to lose, right? Now, here's the truth that might make you very uncomfortable. Space space doesn't just happen. It's something that must be made. One breath at a time, one choice at a time, one boundary at a time. Creating breathing room, it isn't selfish either. It's strategic. It's not lazy, it's wise. It's not optional, it's essential. Think about it this way. If you keep pouring water into a glass that's already full, what happens? It's not rocket science, guys. What happens? I actually don't have anybody around to answer me back. So I'll answer back for all of you guys. It overflows, right? It makes a mess. And ultimately, nothing gets contained properly. But if you pour out some of the water that's already there, you make room for something new, something better, something that actually fits. Your life is that glass, and your breath is the pause button that lets you decide what stays and what goes. So let's go into a breathing exercise because what's an episode without some breathing, right? And we're going to practice this together right now. And as I'm recording this right now, I'm resetting my week and preparing for things that are to come. So these breathing exercises are so essential, right? I want you to get comfortable wherever you are. If you're driving, just focus on the words and let your breath naturally adjust because I need you to be safe. Okay. So, round 1, expansion. Inhale slowly through your nose as I count. Ready, set, here we go. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to hold for 2, 3. Now exhale through your mouth on my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this takes practice, guys, because like you mindfully have to slow yourself down. And it may not happen the first round, right? But like the goal is to put this into practice and make this something that comes natural to you. So now on this next one, as you inhale, say to yourself, I expand my capacity. And as you exhale, I release what no longer fits, right? Go ahead, breathe that in and release that out. Round two, we're going to go into worthiness, right? So you're going to inhale on my count. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you hold that inhale, I deserve breathing room. As you exhale, you're releasing overcommitment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's move into round three. And on the inhale, you are going to inhale, I protect my peace. On the release, on the exhale, I'm sorry, you're going to release mental clutter. So here we go. We're going to inhale on my count, and you are protecting your peace. 1, 2, 3, 4. I protect my peace. And as you exhale, count of 6, I release my mental clutter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Round 4, we are doing some rhythm breathing here. And on the inhale, you're going to reclaim your rhythm. On the exhale, you're going to release urgency. So here we go. On the inhale count, I reclaim my rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. I reclaim my rhythm, and we're going to exhale. I release urgency. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I release urgency. How do you feel? Are you different? Different. Different. Are you different? Are you feeling calmer, more spacious? That's the power of intentional breathing. Yeah. And this week, I want you to reframe your narrative, right? I want you to challenge some lies that you might be telling yourself. Lie one, I don't have time to rest. I'm so guilty of that. But the truth behind that is that I don't have time to not rest, right? So reframe that. The next lie that we tell ourselves often, taking breaks means I'm not committed. When the truth is, taking breaks means I'm committed to sustainability. Yeah. Here's the third lie we tell ourselves. Everyone else seems to handle more than me. Truth. Everyone else is probably struggling too, and I'm not responsible for their choices. AKA, mind your business. The next lie we tell ourselves, if I slow down, everything will fall apart. But the truth is, if I don't slow down, I will fall apart. And that's facts, 100%. Y'all, I used to think I was the glue holding everything together. And then I realized I was more like tape, barely holding on and leaving a sticky mess when I tried to pull away. But when I started creating breathing room, I became more like a foundation, strong, stable, and able to support what truly mattered. Yeah. And I think I want to give you some more practical steps. I know I've given you some things before, but here are some things that I've used on this journey of creating a more stable me, right? And one of them is the 555 rule. So 5 minutes of my morning breathing before I check my phone, 5 minutes of midday breathing before I eat lunch, and 5 minutes of evening breathing before I go to bed. That's a total of 15 minutes, less time than you spend scrolling on social media, folks. Yeah, 15 minutes. And think about it. If your Apple Watch is constantly telling you, like, hey, take a moment for some mindful breathing, there's purpose behind this breathing, right? The second practical step that I want to give you is the sacred no. Practice saying, and I think I've mentioned this to you guys before on another episode, but I want to reiterate it. I want this to become a part of your life, right? Practice saying, let me check my calendar and get back to you. That is a tool and that's a statement that gives you breathing room to decide if something truly aligns with your priorities. Because not every opportunity is your opportunity, right? And then the the transition breath. So between activities, take 3 deep breaths. Between meetings, between tasks, between conversations, this creates micro moments of breathing room throughout your day, right? It's really easy to do. Just as you finish something, 3 quick breaths. It doesn't take long at all. And then this one is awesome. The Sunday reset. Spend 10 minutes every single Sunday reviewing your coming week. Look at what you can delegate, what you can eliminate, what you can simplify, and create breathing room before your week even begins. Just a little planning, right? Now, I know some of you are thinking, but what if people need me? What if I let someone down? What if I'm being selfish? Let me tell you something. A depleted you helps no one. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give what you don't have. And creating breathing room isn't about becoming unavailable, it's about becoming sustainably available. Jesus himself withdrew to lonely places to pray. Luke 5:16 tells us, but Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. If the Son of God needed breathing room, I think it's safe to say that you and I do also. He didn't feel guilty about it. He didn't apologize for it. He simply did what was necessary to remain connected to his source. And if you look at Ecclesiastes 3:1, Solomon reminds us something, right? Solomon was a smart guy. To everything, there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. There's a time for action and a time for rest, a time to say yes and a time to say no, a time to pour out and a time to be filled up. So, the compound effect of breathing room, right? Here's what happens when you start creating breathing room consistently. Your decision making improves because you're not operating from a place of overwhelm. Your relationships improve because you're more present. Your creativity increases because your mind has space to wander and wonder. And your health improves because stress isn't consistently flooding your system. And get this, people actually start respecting your boundaries more because you've shown them how to treat you. You become a model for others who are also drowning in their own overwhelm. So, as we wind down, I've got a homework assignment for you. So, grab your paper and your pen or a notepad or take a screenshot as the questions come across the screen, or if you're listening in audio, you know, mark where we are minute wise so that you come back to these questions, or I'll have them in the notes. Just know that you've got homework and you're responsible for finding the questions that I'm submitting, right? So as we wind down, consider these questions. What can I create more breathing room in my life? That didn't come out right. Totally read that wrong. What can I release to create more breathing room in my life? And in this moment, I'm releasing myself from editing that error out because that's going to give me more time, right? And I'm human, not perfect. Number two, what am I holding on to that's taking up space but not adding value? Question number three, where am I overcommitted and how can I negotiate these commitments? Question number four, what would change if I truly believe I deserved breathing room? Like I said, write these down, sit with them, and let them marinate in your spirit and answer them honestly. So before we close, I want to leave you with today's declaration. So I want you to say it with me, say it loud, say it proud, okay? My breath makes space for clarity, creativity, and calm. I choose to create breathing room in my life because I am worthy of peace. I release what no longer serves me and embrace what brings me life. I am not a victim of my circumstances. I'm a steward of my choices. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And hey, if this episode has spoken to your heart today, if you feel like someone in your life needs to hear this message, would you do me a favor? Share this episode with them. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and let me know what resonates with you. Your support means the world to me and helps this message reach more people who need to hear it. Together, we're creating a community of people who choose to breathe and believe. So, listen, creating breathing room isn't a destination, it's a practice. Some days you're going to nail it, other days you'll forget and find yourself back in the chaos. And that's okay because grace covers those gaps. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. The goal isn't to never feel overwhelmed, it's to recognize when you're overwhelmed and to know you have the tools to create the space for that. Remember, you don't need permission to rest. You don't need a crisis to create breathing room. You just need to choose it one breath at a time. And as you go through your week, I want you to remember that every exhale is a chance to release what's weighing you down. And every inhale is an invitation to breathe in God's peace, purpose, and possibility. As Isaiah 26:3 promises, you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. You are loved, you are enough, and you deserve breathing room. Until next time, keep breathing and keep believing. Peace out, guys.